The first thing you remember is hunger. Not the polite kind, the real kind. The kind that lives in your stomach like a cold stone you cannot remove. You are 7 years old. You live in a single communal room in a crumbling Leningrad apartment. One room, 3 families on the floor, rats in the stairwell. Your father lost half his leg in World War II. He does not discuss it. Men of his generation do not discuss anything. They endure. Your mother survived the 900-day Nazi siege by eating pine bark and boiling leather into soup. She is thin in a way that never fully goes away. You are small, skinny, quiet. Kids always attack what is small and quiet. You lose your first fight at 8, then your second. But something happens inside that does not show outside. You decide, very quietly and very permanently, that you will never be the weakest person in any room. Your father's eyes when you come home with a split lip say exactly that. Figure it out. You figure it out. You are 12. You have found your answer in a small, sweat-smelling gym 4 blocks from your apartment. The sport is Sambo, a Soviet martial art built to teach soldiers to destroy an enemy bare-handed. The coach looks at you the way men look at things they are not sure are worth their time. You do not flinch. He lets you stay. The first months are humiliation. You are thrown to the mat so many times that the sound of your own body hitting the floor becomes background noise. But something clicks, not physically, mentally. Sambo is not about fighting. It is about controlling a situation, seeing what your opponent wants and using that desire against them. Remaining absolutely calm when everything around you is chaos. By 17, you are a Leningrad junior champion. More importantly, you have developed a coldness that sits behind your eyes like ice on a very deep lake. Some people are reassured by it. Others are unsettled. Both reactions, you understand, are useful. At 16, standing outside a KGB recruitment office, you are not yet old enough to enter. You decide, this is what your life will be. You are 23. You have a law degree and a badge. The training transforms you. Languages, surveillance, how to follow a man through a city without him sensing your presence. How to build trust with a target, make them like you, make them need you, and then extract exactly what you need, like pulling a thread from a coat without the coat noticing. They teach you to become whoever a situation requires. Not acting, something deeper. The ability to inhabit a role so completely that no human instinct detects the performance. In 1985, you receive what you have been waiting for, an overseas posting. Dresden, East Germany. You go with your wife and 2 daughters. To everyone around you, you are a minor Soviet trade representative. Boring, unremarkable, forgettable. That is exactly the point. The most dangerous people in the world are the ones nobody thinks to watch. You are 37. It is November 1989. The wall is coming down. You stand at the window of your KGB office, watching thousands of East Germans pour through checkpoints that hours ago meant prison or a bullet. You call the Soviet military base. You need orders. There is a long pause. Then the soldier says the words that will stay with you forever. We cannot do anything without orders from Moscow, and Moscow is silent. You hang up. Alone, without orders, you begin burning documents. File after file fed into an incinerator that overheats and breaks. The crowd reaches the gate. You walk outside alone. No weapon drawn. You tell them calmly this is Soviet property. Something in the way you stand the absolute absence of fear in your eyes, stops them. They hesitate. They move on. Later you will say that what the collapse taught you was this: a country without strength is invisible, and invisible means irrelevant. You carry that lesson home like a wound that never heals. And like all deep wounds, it will drive everything that comes next. You are 39. St. Petersburg, in the early 1990s, is a war zone without the shooting. The mob controls the ports. Oligarchs are assembling fortunes from the wreckage. Old women are selling furniture to buy bread. You work for Mayor Sobchak, running import permits and international investments. In a city where every movement requires permission and every permission has a price, this is one of the most powerful positions in the region. You learn the architecture of influence. You learn who the players are, the businessmen, the mob bosses, the politicians, and you understand that in chaos, the person who can provide order is indispensable. In 1996, Sobchak loses his re-election. You refuse to jump to the winning side. You help him escape when corruption charges close in. In Moscow, this is noticed. In a world where loyalty is the rarest currency, you have just made a very expensive deposit. The phone rings 18 months later. You are 45. Yeltsin's people want to meet. Russia is being eaten from the inside. Oligarchs running the country like a private business. Chechnya a bleeding wound. Ordinary citizens without a real pay raise since communism fell. Proud people made to feel small. And proud people who feel small are the most dangerous people in the world. You are given the FSB. You run it quietly, methodically, building loyalty from the ground up. In August 1999, Yeltsin names you Prime Minister. 3 months later, on December 31st, Yeltsin walks on television and resigns. He says Russia deserves better. Then he says your name. You are 47, acting president of the Russian Federation. 165 million people, 10,000 nuclear warheads, a country humiliated for a decade, starving for someone to make it feel like itself again. 3 months until the election. No intention of losing. You win with 52%. The men who assumed they would continue running things in the shadows receive a message. The rules have changed. Those who understand early find life continues smoothly. Those who do not find that a resurgent Russian state can be an extraordinarily focused instrument. Berezovsky calls from London to complain. You listen politely. You say very little. You hang up. He never returns to Russia. You appear on television not behind desks but in action. Flying jets, riding horses shirtless through Siberia. Every image says the same thing. Russia is back. The Chechen war ends on your terms. The press is appalled. Russian approval hits 80%. You have learned something fundamental. In a country like Russia, strength is not admired. It is required. You are 50. In 2007 in Munich, you tell the assembled leaders of the Western world that the American-led unipolar order is dangerous and Russia will not accept it as permanent. The room goes silent. The American Secretary of Defense looks at you as though you have said something unrepeatable at a dinner party. You have, in fact, just given everyone fair warning. Georgia, 2008. Ukraine, 2014. Syria, 2015. The West reads aggression. You see a country promised respect and given condescension, watching NATO expand to its borders year after year, as though the agreement had never existed. The sanctions come, the isolation comes. You have prepared for both. You are the most sanctioned leader on earth. Your face is on the cover of every magazine. In half the world's eyes, a villain. In Moscow on a cold night, your approval ticks above 80%. You are 60. There is no one left who tells you the truth. The loneliness is not the ordinary kind. It is the loneliness of a position where every person who approaches you has something to gain or fear, where every smile is a calculation, where genuine trust is the one resource no amount of power can buy. Your marriage ended. Your daughters live lives you are not fully part of. The friends from Leningrad are careful around you now in a way they were not before. Power bends everything around it. Some mornings you wake at 4 a.m. in one of your palaces and think about the apartment in Leningrad, the smell of boiled cabbage, the rats, your mother making soup from nothing, your father's look that said, "Figure it out." You figured it out. Whether that is triumph or a tragedy, you are honestly no longer sure. You are 71, still here. Your enemies predicted your fall 100 times. Russia is not thriving, but it is not broken, and you are not diminished. The world will argue about what you were. Some will say, a visionary who understood that power does not retire because someone writes a polite document saying it should. That you gave Russia its dignity back in the only language the world actually understands. Others will say, a man who took a fragile democracy and crushed it under the weight of his own need for control. Who could have built something real and chose instead to build a mirror. Both things are true. They are always both true in men like you. What is undeniable? There is one name every leader on earth whispers before they make a decision. One calculation every capital performs before it acts. One man whose patience and stillness and refusal to be predictable has reshaped the map of the 21st century. That name is yours. From a crumbling building in Leningrad. From a boy who chased rats and lost fights and decided very quietly, very permanently, that he would never be the weakest person in any room. You are not the weakest person in any room. Not anymore. You are the room.